My life was interesting because I was doing a lot of different sports through my life. I even sometimes counted like 20 of different sports. My father helped me to be fully engaged. Most prominent amongst them was water polo, which was a semi-professional sport that I trained for more than 8 years. And then rowing, which I trained professionally. It brought a lot of discipline, but also professional sport means that it's really bad for the health. So it really affected also my back and health, and then I stopped it when I came to the senior category because I knew that my health will go very much down. And then I started to do breakdance because of a lot of austerities and everything that I was doing through sports. It was really intense. Sometimes we could not even go to swim in the summer because our trainer was around the beaches looking are we on the sun, because we needed to prepare ourselves. So I went in a little extreme way to go and started breakdancing, which worsened the situation of my health. And then one friend which I met there helped me to start doing yoga. He invited me for the yoga classes, which really rejuvenated my health and really helped me to balance myself and bring myself more in the mode of goodness. Because when I started to do yoga, I could become more peaceful, come more in contact with myself, and I had the opportunity through that friend to come in contact to Krishna consciousness philosophy, and it really blew my mind. It really answered all of my questions, because I was all my life trying to understand the higher purpose of life, but I could never find the answers to my questions. And that's something very important to me, to be able to dedicate myself to something that is not just superficial, but that it's something with deep substance. So when I discovered Vedic philosophy and the Krishna consciousness tradition, ancient tradition, it really changed my life. Hi there, my name is Filip and I come from Croatia in Europe. That's a place close to Split on Mediterranean coast, and I will try to present my life through two storylines. First will be more about my private life, how I came to yoga and Krishna consciousness, and the second one will be more about my professional development and how it integrated and how it helped me to help others. So my life was interesting because I was doing a lot of different sports through my life. I even sometimes counted like 20 of different sports. My father helped me to be fully engaged. And most prominent amongst them was water polo, which was a semi-professional sport that I trained for more than 8 years. And then rowing, which I trained professionally. It brought a lot of discipline, but also professional sport means that it's really bad for the health. So it really affected also my back and health, and then I stopped it when I came to the senior category because I knew that my health will go very much down. And then I started to do breakdance because of a lot of austerities and everything that I was doing through sports. It was really intense. Sometimes we could not even go to swim in the summer because our trainer was around the beaches looking are we on the sun, because we needed to prepare ourselves. So I went in a little extreme way to go and started breakdancing, which still, how to say, worsened the situation of my health. And then one friend which I met there helped me to start doing yoga. He invited me for the yoga classes, which really rejuvenated my health and really helped me to balance myself and bring myself more in the mode of goodness. And that was like really important, because when I started to do yoga, I could become more peaceful, come more in contact with myself, and I had the opportunity through that friend to come in contact to Krishna consciousness philosophy, and it really blew my mind. It really answered all of my questions, because I was all my life trying to understand the higher purpose of life, but I could never find the answers to my questions. And that's something very important to me, to be able to dedicate myself to something that is not just superficial, but that it's something with deep substance. So when I discovered Vedic philosophy and the Krishna consciousness tradition, ancient tradition, it really changed my life. So on the other storyline, I was also trying to change the world. And I was trying to do that through different initiatives. Some of them were through student councils, where I saw a lot of injustices when I was in the beginning of my college. And I saw how like on the college, professors were not just in different situations. So I tried to turn to the student council, but then I understood that student council was even more corrupted. So I also tried to change the situation there by re-electing the student council. And but the problem was that students didn't want to stand up for themselves. And in that moment I understood that I cannot change the world alone, that I need to first help new generation of leaders to upraise their consciousness so that they could really make an impact and become aware leaders. And aside of that, I was also working in United Nations Development Program on different projects about renewable energy sources, because I thought also that through renewable energy sources we could loosen the crisis of the environmental crisis. But when I came to Krishna consciousness, I understood that that's very superficial solution, because if we don't address lust and greed that people have in their hearts, no other technical solutions can make some change in the world, because they will be just superficial. People will again have more and more needs, and it will not settle anything. So I decided to focus myself more afterwards to help people to change themselves and to become role models of the sustainable society. All of this came together with me becoming also dedicating myself to Krishna consciousness. And something also that helped me in that moment, in that tradition, that transition, is that after all of these professional sports, like I mentioned, I started also this breakdancing and everything, a lot of different extreme sports, and looking that my life is, purpose of my life was sense gratification. So I really focused myself on that, and I was chasing, like, aside of other things, also motorbikes. So I got one because I'm from a good standing family, and then I was really desiring it, and when I got it, then I became disinterested, and then I was yearning for another one, and then I got that one, and then after 6 months I get again dissatisfied with that motorcycle, and then third one, and it continued like that, fourth and fifth. And then when I came to Krishna consciousness, I understood that all of this material enjoyment cannot really satisfy ourselves, that it can just, it doesn't give a real happiness and joy from inside. And then when I became devotee, it really changed my lifestyle, and I really understood that if I dive deeper into myself, I could become a change that I want to see in the world. And that also inspired me to become a monk. So I became a monk for 5 years, and that was a really amazing experience, because I really had the opportunity to dive deeper, to understand myself better, to also clear my heart from envy, greed, and all of these superficial things, lust, and which were holding me back to be able to really properly serve others and to be happy, to put others in center, not myself. And it also gave me really profound and deep realizations, so that my spirituality is not just some dogmatic practice, but I understood how Krishna consciousness is like a really scientific approach, and that by putting it properly in practice, you get very deep realizations, which can help people to really experience what Vedic literature and Krishna consciousness is teaching, this deep ancient philosophy. So that was really interesting experience, and I have done also a lot of welfare work in that period. But then after 5 years I understood that I'm not a monk by nature, because before that I was also chasing girls, and I understood that I will need to make a transition. So I decided to go out from the temple, and I decided to make a contribution to the world. So I started a charity, and that charity was meant to promote sustainable development and help young people to become role model leaders. And it was really interesting because before I became a devotee, and before I started to work with myself, I needed to go after people and to try to convince them how, like we should make some positive change in the world. But after that experience, because I was emanating that different consciousness and that different vibrations, people started to approach me. And that's how I started a charity with a couple of people who were resonating with that. And we established it, and we started to promote sustainable development and started to teach leadership, value-based leadership, and also entrepreneurship, helping young new generations to develop themselves personally and professionally. And we have developed also different online courses and different on-site educations, different things. Also, because we're teaching social entrepreneurship, we wanted to show by our example, and then we started an enterprise with a restaurant, a vegan restaurant, through which we distribute karma-free food, and we have also education hall, so that we can help others to transform their consciousness. And it was really interesting, also the whole process of starting the charity and enterprise, and especially before starting the restaurant. I remember that we started the restaurant just a couple of months before COVID, and COVID was also a game changer. And we just invested a lot of money because it was in a capital city, 100 meters from the main square, so it was a huge investment. And the point was that when COVID hit, we needed to totally adjust to the crisis situation. And many hospitality sector people from the other restaurants, they really broke apart, and that really hit them tremendously. But because I was looking at always from the different perspective, I took this opportunity to use it to serve others. And not only that COVID hit, but it also changed the earthquake happened just in the beginning of COVID in Zagreb, which really affected the whole situation in Zagreb. People lost their homes because of the earthquake, they lost their jobs because of the COVID, and we were closed. So we used all of our resources in a moment and started Food for Life, distributing food for those in the needs. And then also it helped, the Krishna consciousness helped me to stay peaceful and to maintain my composure with my daily meditation, so that I could really continue giving my contribution to the society. So that's how it really helped through the whole process, and how I used that energy that I wanted to change the world to really, Krishna consciousness made it more better, so that I could really help others change their lives personally, so that they could become change in the world that they want to see. And then we have also different other ways how to help them to become spiritual seekers, because this is something that I understood when I became a devotee, is that if you don't help people to find their spiritual nature, whatever you do in their material life is just superficial, because the most unhappy people are those who have a lot of money and a lot of resources and big positions. So because they are spiritually really hungry and they are really empty inside. So that's why I decided myself to help them, and that's why I also started all of these charities and everything, to reach out to the people in a way they can really understand that spirituality is important for them. So I also, through all the programs, I also teach them how they can find their life call, their true purpose in life. And because I teach it in a holistic way, I also address that we need to go deeper into ourselves, connect with ourselves, and understand what is the higher purpose of life, so that we integrate that in our life call. So to sum it up, Krishna consciousness really helped me so that I could really make a positive transformation in people's lives. Because before I thought that by addressing superficial things like renewable energy sources or sorting out some superficial situations in the society, I could improve their lives. But I understood that real help, what I can help them, is to help them to connect with themselves and really help them in their spiritual journey. Because if we don't address that aspect, everything else is very superficial, and people who have the most money, who have the most resources, they're usually the most unhappy ones, because they're looking for the happiness on superficial levels. And that's why I have started all of those charities and enterprises, because this is the way how I could help to reach out to the people who are after career, who are after material success, to help them gradually develop those aspects in a value-based manner with the proper values. And also because in all of those programs I implement educations how to discover your own life call, your own life purpose, through which it's in a holistic way designed so that they can also understand all the levels of their existence. And one very important is spiritual level, through which they need to connect with themselves and understand their purpose in life, because otherwise the complete solution, if it's not a complete solution, it will not fully satisfy the heart. So in that way I also help them to become spiritual seekers and to go in their spiritual journey, start their spiritual journeys. So after becoming a devotee, I witnessed amazing positive changes, because I started to react differently to situations. The practice of meditation and mantras chanting and the whole process of bhakti yoga, it helped me to change not just the perception on things, but perspective. I could see things from another worldview, and I was not so much personally affected by the outside situations, which helped me to make more rational decisions, like when that earthquake hit and the COVID happened. I was not just in the blue, oh, why is this happening now and this and that, but I could immediately react and do some welfare thing for the others and become all of this food for life, distributing to the food to people in the need. We were even more quicker than these emergency services. So, and also like how I dealt with the different stress in life by running different organizations, dealing with people, and it really helped me to totally behave differently. And not only that, but also it helped me to put my energy to really address not just superficial thing, but really the principle. Like if you have a disease on the skin, you can try to put a balm on it, but it will just maybe cure some rash that is on the skin, but then that rash will happen somewhere else and something more deeper will again happen. But if you see what is the cause of that problem, then your solution can really eliminate that rash. If you understand that the proper nutrition needs to be, because of the nutrition, rash is happening and these skin problems, then if you change the nutrition, it will not happen again. You don't do a superficial solution of balm. And that's how I also started to change, to address that my urge to change the world by helping people to transform their lives and to become the change they want to see in the world. Bhagavad Gita is one of the principal scriptures of Vedic texts and Krishna consciousness, really helped me to understand that I am a spirit soul, which is not part of this world, and that this body is just a vehicle. So if we are not attached to that vehicle and to the external situations, we will not be affected with the situations that are happening around us. Also why certain things are happening in our life, why karma is there, and why God, because if you don't have aspect of karma, it may look that God is either envious, so he punishes us, or that he is not all powerful, so that he cannot assist us. And that's very important, so that I could develop deeper relationship with God. understanding that. It also helped me to understand how different energies in this world, these modes of material nature, are really functioning and influencing our consciousness and everyday behavior, and how adjusting different things in our life, we can transform our life to live more peaceful, more balanced, and more happier life. And it also helped me much to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, His qualities, and how actually to develop relationship with Him, and how beautiful person He is, so that He really wants us to come back to Him. Through my desire of wanting to change the world, I went through a little extreme path of becoming a monk, but that's not necessary for everybody. The most important thing is that person needs to connect to themselves, take time for introspection, understand who they are and what is the purpose of this world. Because then they can see the whole thing, they can see the whole world holistically, and then they can address and see how they can become happy themselves and how their actions when they are doing them can influence others in a positive way. And now, not to be so wishy-washy, I want to give you specifically that the programs that we have developed. We have an online academy, Oaza Academy, through which you can learn how to become a role model leader, where we taught the value-based leadership and how you can, the first step also to go deeper and to understand what is your purpose in life, what do you want to achieve in your life, so that you can also help others and then lead them in a way that benefits all. Also how you can develop your enterprise in a way that benefits all. That's why Impact Entrepreneurship is there, also one of the programs that you can attend. And also the third one is how to understand your life call, your purpose in life, that you can connect with yourself, that you can understand in which direction to go in your life. This is something that I saw that many youngsters and new generations are missing in their life. Today's world is affected by a lot of stress and a lot of insecurities and a lot of expectations especially for the new generations, because they are put in situations that they need to finish college, give all the exams, look perfectly, earn so much money and satisfy the expectations of their parents, society, schools and everything. So it's a huge burden that they are carrying on their back. And it's not so easy to change it, because if we put ourselves in the identity that we are that person, that I'm like a son of the family who wants the part of this society who has expectations and all of these false identities, like I need to be the best student, I need to be the perfect son, I need to be this, I need to be that. They're all superficial identities. So in order to be able to remove that stress, we need to look at the things from another perspective. I can give a small example, like if you are under a volcano and volcano is erupting, and you are down looking how volcano is erupting, you will feel very big stress, anxiety for your life, because you know that lava will come. But in the another situation, you are flying in the plane, and by flying in the plane, you look at the volcano, you will be impressed. Wow, such a special thing, I'm very happy that I could witness this because I'm safe. Nothing can happen to me. So when we see ourselves from the position of the soul, that we are not this body, that we are not all of these identities, we are not going to be affected by all of these things. And we can make rational decisions, because the biggest stress comes from our expectations, which come from different wrong identities that we have in this world. So without going deeper into ourselves, without discovering who we truly are, we cannot change that. We can just try to do the positive thinking and trying to polish things from the external perspective, but that will not change how we feel, identify from inside. Because if we identify ourselves with a car and that car gets a scratch, we will be very angry or depressed. But if we understand that car is just a vehicle to transport us in some way, we will not be depressed or sad or angry to something. We are just going to continue because we are still alive. Nothing happened to us. Only car gets scratched. So that's the way. That's why spirituality is very important, because without spirituality, we cannot change our lives properly. So when we say about spirituality, spirituality has different, it's a loaded word. It has different meanings and everybody has their own perception about it. I spoke with many people about it and I got so many different and funny answers. But spirituality, by its name, it has to do something with spirit. And spirit is something that is not material. So something that's not material is only our inner being, our spiritual soul. So spirituality means something that has to do with the spirit. And in today's world, we are equating that to religion, or we are equating that to finding my own way, dealing with chakras or dealing with all of these New Age philosophies. But both of those things are not true, because real spirituality is understanding our true nature and understanding what is the purpose of this world and trying to connect again to that purpose. That's a real spirituality. And it can be done through yoga, it can be done through different religions, it can be done through different things. But the most important part is that we try to really sincerely and honestly practice those teachings. Because if we don't put them in practice, if we just hang on to the superficial dogmatical rituals, or we just identify with the social environment because we want to be part of certain society, it will not change us. We will not get those deeper realizations. We will not understand who we really are. We will still identify ourselves with the false ego, with all of those wrong identities, and from there we cannot change ourselves. We cannot connect to that divine. So the true spirituality, it can be found in different traditions, but the most important part is that we really and honestly try to dive deeper, understand who we truly are, understand what is the purpose of our life, and to see how we can attain that purpose. And for that, we need guidance, because that's much above our perception, sensory perception. So we need to have teachers, we need to have a proper line of knowledge, and we need to not just follow that blindly, but really put it in practice and get those experiences, because it's a science. Also, if we want to learn physics, we will not be able to rediscover it ourselves. But we go to the teacher who is verified, who is coming from bona fide university, has a certificate, diploma, and who is teaching from certain scriptures. And then we learn from him. And then when we learn, we need to put it in practice to see, does it work? And if it works, then we are going to get realizations, and then we can become physicians. So that's the only way. So life after that is an important question, because also that because I came from Christian tradition, they don't have such an answer. And it bothered me, because if there is no another life, if there is no reincarnation, if there is only one life, and then according to that life it's being decided, will we go to eternal heaven or eternal hell, that's like really not just from God. Because you can be born in a family that are a mafia background, and you can be born and raised in that and behave like that, and who decided that? Why somebody got like a golden spoon and somebody doesn't have anything to eat? So when we introduce the concept of reincarnation and karma, everything becomes logical, and then we can really understand that there is justice and that God is not trying to punish us because of some just external circumstances, and that we have deserved it ourselves. So in logical way, that's the only answer. From the second part, regarding my realizations, I got a lot of realizations, and now when somebody asks me, does karma exist? Do I believe that does karma exist? Usually I tell them that I don't believe. And then they ask me, why? But you are from the Vedic tradition. And I say, because I don't believe anymore. I know that it exists, because I had so many realizations. I had realizations from different perspectives. One of them was looking at the Jyotish, that I had one expert Jyotish a person who told me what happened in my life before, even not knowing me, and what will happen in the future. Some of those things in future changed because I started to practice pure spirituality, so God changed some things, but some things I saw that needed to happen. On the other side, there is many investigations of after death experiences where people on the surgical table, they have left their bodies and they could see what was happening, and some of those people were blind. They were blind, they have never seen colors, and then they could really see what was happening, what was going inside of the operational room, and later on they explained different colors, different things. So that's not possible. There is also so many other evidences that through regressions, people started to remember their past life, and some of them started to speak languages that were unknown. Only really amazing experts could decipher those languages and could see what they were saying. So that was a lot of investigations in that area also. And there is also a couple of other things that you can really see this life is just one of the experiences that we had and is determined by the previous experiences. And it's not just some theological, dogmatical thing, but it's really something that is influencing our life, and if we go a little deeper we can see how it really influences our life and why it happens. So when I stopped my monk life and I went out of the ashram, I was also in search of a partner, and I saw also that it's really important before you find a partner that you find yourself. Because the very big problem is that people try to find somebody, but they are not sure who they are and what do they want to do in their life. And then when they find other person who is also not sure, after 5 or 10 years, their paths may totally separate. But if you are aware what you want to do in your life, if you are understanding also what is your life call and what is your purpose, what is your nature, then you can also find a person who can align with that. That's why it's very important. And after I found myself and discovered all of these things, I could then find a person who would match and that we can spend our life together. Of course, there is a lot of challenges on the way, because each one of us has different egos, different minds, different things, but that is the purpose of marriage, to become more pure, to change our behavior. And successful marriages are those who have not been perfect match also, but who have had some similarities which would hold them together, but who were able to adjust towards each other, to lean towards each other. So that also needs to be an important part, that we are not just looking for the perfect person. We need to find some common things that are according to our nature that can connect us, but we also need to be aware that we need to lean toward the other person, to make compromises, because otherwise it will not happen. So interesting thing in Krishna consciousness is that we don't need to go to Himalayas in caves to practice spirituality. It's really practical, because we can be in married life, we can have our career, but we can offer that career as a service, as our spiritual practice. We can offer the results and we can offer them for the pleasure of God. So even married people can become very honest and true spiritualists. And in Krishna consciousness history, we found that our acharyas, the most prominent teachers, were also family men, grihastas. And also family men can also act as monks, like me and my wife are now also not attached anymore to certain material things. In one place we are looking around how to be able to serve better and to see what Krishna wants from us. So you don't need to be in the orange color in order to be practicing spirituality, because also sometimes in orange color you can be attached to your place, you can be attached to your circumstances, you can be attached to different things. And the point is of renunciation is to not be attached, to be available to see what is the plan of divine and how we can develop relationship with Him. So Krishna consciousness is really amazing because it gives principles, and it's not dealing so much with the details. It gives some practical details which can help us to achieve the principles, but the principles are the most essential. Each one of us is searching for happiness, and when I was searching that happiness before in my life, material life, through sensory enjoyment, through either extreme sports, chasing girls, or different other things. But that was just a fleeting happiness, because that's like an itch. You have it and you try to satisfy it, but actually it's not true fulfillment, because that's just like when your shoes are hurting and you take them off, you think that's happiness, but that's just relief of the pain. So the true fulfillment and the true happiness comes only when we address the spiritual aspect of ourselves. If we try to address only physical or psychological aspect, we can never be truly happy, because our soul in our spiritual aspect will still be not fulfilled. But when we address that aspect, then we can feel real joy and real happiness in our life. And this is something that helped me also to come to Krishna consciousness, because when I came, I was enjoying, like, to the modern standards. I was a role model to my friends and experiences, because I was good in sports. I was doing different things that they were really like looking after me. But when I came to Krishna consciousness and I experienced the kirtan, when I truly surrendered myself and opened my heart, I could never compare it to anything else, to any other enjoyment that I had in my life. It was on totally another level. In some moments, I thought that I will not be able to handle it. Such deep joy and happiness that was overwhelming me, because it's on totally other level. And that cannot be explained by words. Also, like the jar of honey cannot be explained, the taste of the honey. You just need to put the hand inside and taste it. Otherwise, you cannot explain what is the taste by just words, if the person never tried it. So I really encourage all of you to try it out. Yeah, so usually, because I'm working with a lot of people, I always try to inspire them to become seekers, to find themselves and to find their purpose in life. But that can only be done if we take time for introspection. And this is the biggest problem in today's world, because we have so many distractions. All the medias, all the networks, all the scrolling, everything. Our attention is just always being dragged somewhere else. And people are even scared to be alone. So we need to bring ourselves in the position that we are comfortable being alone, taking that time for introspection. And if we are not comfortable, we can use different techniques. Of course, I have developed that course, like I mentioned, Life Call, where I guide people step by step how they could discover themselves. But the most important part is to see what can bring your consciousness in that state, that you are comfortable with yourself, to take time for introspection, to connect with yourself, and then to understand what is your nature and what is the purpose of this life. Because only then our true life starts. And if you want to watch more such inspiring stories, you can subscribe to the channel and look for the other videos.